Hello, this is Driver. We are going to be looking at another replay that was submitted to the Academy chat. This was from Baegll. I have allowed the match to start a little bit ahead of time. I know that there are certain things that are going to happen in this match already, but that shouldn't affect anything. For this map, this is an interesting choice. Just for the start positions. The advantage of this is that you get forward lab that you need to expand quickly lift. These 4 mexes, they're worth about 7 metal. Oops. So you're not missing out on much early on. What's your build order? This is actually a fairly good start queue for your units. Instead of this solar, by the way, I would have actually recommended a wind. Repair another wind. Just because wind on this map is fairly stable, and I know the wind's dying, but that would have been a little bit more helpful to you. I recommend setting the Baegll. I would recommend going to game, and factory guard builders, turn that on. That will prevent what this constructor did. Okay, moving forward, let's see what else you're doing. I need to erase all the drawings now. This, in my opinion, is a mistake. I will explain very carefully. Using this single con to go back and make units is not the best of ideas. What you should do is, in my opinion, wait and just have double constructors do at the factory. I know it might not seem like much, but you really need to focus on units at this time. I do like the fact that you're being aggressive. Is there... I would recommend grabbing 1 mex here, by the way. Just to have the metal income, like have your commander progress here, build, and then go. For your placement, I would actually recommend that this LLT is a lot closer. Somewhere right here, just next to the next. Because otherwise you're just going to... You basically have to walk like this. And then maybe like that. With a, let me redraw that. Basically you're going to be walking this, this, and then that. With these 2 points being really bad. So... Okay, moving on. Who's building this? This is way too much build power. You can get away with just the 2. I know, by the way, I have been known for saying you should do long queues, but this is too much. So. Okay. I like the fact that you're being aggressive with your units. I would recommend using fight command in this situation. Just to get your grunts forward and moving into chasing at least. I like the fact that you're not being too aggressive in the sense of just throwing units away. At this point in time, I would probably try to keep 1 grunt just watching this commander and the rest have them be somewhere else. Because it's just going to be a push. I would try to get another... I would try to park your commander right here. Because this person is going to degun that LLT as soon as they can, and have your commander parked right there would actually be really good. Actually, it might not even matter. Correction, it doesn't matter. That's a stupid way of losing a commander, by the way. Don't do that. I like how you're bringing this over. You should degun at this point in time, by the way. Oh, you do that. Perfect. You overflow to your teammates, but that's a good thing. In this situation. When you start getting these nano turrets up, try to assist with 2. You do need, for nanos, you should have about 180 energy minimum, maybe 200. So I'll pause right here. HLTs are good, but not for this purpose. There isn't enough other turrets or units around to support it, which is why you need to be very careful about getting an HLT up. And this is a fairly exposed HLT in comparison. Oh good, you catch this and do things with that later. That's good. For your constructors, by the way, generally speaking, what I do is I do 2 for every single task, not just 1. Or sorry, I at least have 2 elements of build power assisting a building of some kind. I would recommend diving on this, either this or this with the units they had with your ally, because this is actually really, you'll win this fight regardless. The question is how much you'll lose. And hopefully you have a forward res bot somewhere, or maybe that died, because that's going to be what, 400 metal. I would really recommend against doing this specifically with your forward economy. I would actually recommend, actually let me erase. What I would recommend instead of doing this, have your commander just build more LLTs to cover, because you're facing pounders right now. And that's not going to make much of a difference. This is not meaningful, by the way. Don't worry about ever doing this trick. Why are these a cylinder? I need to fix that. That's also an issue. Okay, I'll have to fix that as well. Ignore me, I'm just reviewing bug issues as well. And this is exactly why you don't get an HLT up, because it is simply too naked of a position. And no, don't do this either. HLTs require a lot of time to build. This right here is enough to kill a building HLT and counter your units at the same time conveniently. You should have these red spots coming up here and starting to reclaim. Okay, let's look at your base. Good news is that you're able to spend your metal. Generally speaking, I recommend avoiding a mix of rocket bots with plasma because the two don't really complement each other in the way that you might think. It is best to go one or the other, in my humble opinion. So, is there doing that? This jammer is not in a good spot. I would recommend having it be somewhere like here. Just away from the turret, because when artillery starts raining down here, trying to kill this, it'll basically get shot at the same time. Same with this nano, probably here. And this is 2 main nanos for the front. No. 1 HLT is enough. That's 800 metal. Am I... Sorry, that's about 900 metal. Just in 2 turrets that are probably not going to be shooting. What you really should be doing, in fact, is getting twin guards. Just a few right here would be perfect. Okay, so if we were to show... Wait. That has the range to hit that. What are you shooting at? Oh, radar wobble. Give it a second. Okay. I just needed to check Discord for a moment. So that's why the black screen occurs. Since you have so much... Oh, that's someone else. I would start recommending having one of these is simply reclaim your basic solars all over the place. I would have probably not spent that much. I said no at this one. These two are definitely no, and no. Just no, not for this spot. Because you're trying to get a T2 lab out. And this is 2,900 metal. This turret represents half of that, doing practically nothing. So I'll leave it at that for now. One of the things that you should have actually considered is buying a T2 from this person. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. Just buying it from here. Because that'll be cheaper for you, and that way you can better focus. Okay, you are reclaiming that. No, just... not here, not now. If you're going to make a Juno, just make it back here somewhere. Like, somewhere right here is perfect. Because it will hit anywhere on the map. The Juno, it would only be meaningful in hitting this area better. Same with roughly this area. But it really can't hit here, 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 here. You run into the issue of it's just certain spots that's going to collide with the cliff first. And then here. Just having it back here is just going to be better. When you see this turret up, by the way, when you see a medium plasma guardian up, what you should be doing is just reclaiming whatever turrets you don't need. Because it will chew through this, and if they get the reclaim, that's a huge issue for you. So, use your res bots. I'm going to actually do one thing real quick, by the way. You were really good at expanding forward. It's just right. What you're doing is correct here all the way up to here for the most part. It's just that you're getting the wrong turrets. So that's where this really stops for the T1 phase. For the T2 phase, it's probably going to look a lot differently. But at this point, if you're not reclaiming anything, you're just leaving it for the other team to grab. It doesn't matter if you can utilize the middle or not. The moment you leave reclaim on the field, it's for anyone to grab. So don't forget that. For this, by the way, I would... Oh, good, you are doing that. I would recommend probably getting a handful of Twitchers after the mech is done. Don't get units yet, because you need these T2 mechs up first, unfortunately. So what I'm going to say at this point is you're going to lose this position. It's not through just the medium plasma cannons. Or at least I'm going to predict that just because of how those specifically work. I do like the fact that you're pulling your commander back at this point in time. You're not trying to gamble with that commander anymore. And I would like to highlight the amount of metal you have left behind here. That's a T2 lab worth of metal reclaim. I think you even get the T2 air lab with that amount of metal, which is the most expensive of the air labs, if you're curious. No, don't do this, by the way. Not because it's a bad idea. You have Twitchers, use them for that, and then do this. I believe you're about to get nuked. Yes. So at this stage, a lot of things are going to be out of your hand at this point. This should have been a likely nuke target because of the fusion. Or that as well. This person should have just queued up an anti-nuke from here. It's on the next page, yeah. 1200 versus... What key is it? 1500 and 40,000 versus... It's significantly cheaper. You should have spy bots going if you don't already. At this time, you do need more advanced solars. This I'm going to disagree with. Now the other mentors, they might not, excuse me, sorry. They might not have mentioned this yet, but realistically what you should be doing is going for a first fusion, 1 or 2 converters, another fusion, 2 more converters, and possibly consider doing another fusion and then 2 converters again. Then going Aphis. The specific reason for doing so is that you need to get out units quickly. And with the 3 fusions built, you can reclaim them into Aphises later down the line. It's not to say that these are going to be bad for you. It's just more a case of they're not going to... The amount of time that they're going to affect you is rather significant. Also, you should be considering having a second T2 constructor at this point in time, just going forward. And building up these mechs as it can. Oops. You shouldn't you shouldn't really be worried about getting a Juno during the T1 stage and during the T2 stage, not for a while. I like how you're trying to keep your Sullivan's fairly well spread out. You should be asking for energy from other people at this time, by the way. Oh, there's some... So, for your recovery, no. You need to get T1 constructors, T1 lab up and running again. Okay, good. You need to get down some very basic. You should stop this entirely. You should be asking for some amount of energy income. Like these ones back here, you should be asking for anything. Like if people have basic solars. Yeah. At this point in time, by the way, there are 3 nukes that have landed successfully. So keep that in mind. So recovering from this and winning is actually going to be a little bit tricky compared to normal. No. You recover by spamming wind at this point because that's the only way you're going to recover fast enough. This is not going... These build power turrets are not going to help you in the way that you wish that they will. I would like to point out that this is a almost a full lab worth of teaching constructors just for build power alone. So basic solars work okay. You should have the this at this point in time. You should start making advanced solars. Just a handful of them. And if you die to this push, that's not your fault. At this point, you need your allies to do things. Actually, no, you're using your commander in a... Perfect. Now, just at this point in time, just remember your commander has to be used as a bomb. It doesn't have the HP, so keep that in mind. Unlucky you, and... This AFS is a mistake, by the way. It's a good thing you have allies that are doing things and pushing and doing other things. So at this point in time, if you're still in the match, what you should be doing is asking for use from other players so that you can better control things. You should be looking out for things and pinging. Just for your allies. Because at this point in time, what you can really do that your allies can't do, or sorry, what you have the opportunity to do, is basically look at the map, see what's going on, and react to it. At this point in time, I'm assuming it's a win for your team. So. Let's push up. Oh, I'm capped at 4. Well, you're back into the match at this point. Okay. This scene choice is interesting from that player. It works. Is all in one the same. For this map, it's actually a little bit more powerful than normal. But what I would recommend doing is, oh, those are Shivas, not Mammoths. Okay, that's good to know. Keep these pushing, just kill factories. Just doing any damage to anything is important. At this point in time, if you have an opportunity of building a T1, instead of doing this APHIS, what you should do is make an air lab. And just go on a bombing spree. If you possibly could consider it, so. I'll be ending this here because that's all I think I need to look at.